大谷翔平がいつマウンドに戻るのか、その答えを握る男がついに沈黙を破りました。ドジャースのマーク・プライアー投手コーチが明かしたのは、単なるリハビリの進捗ではなく、シーズンを通して最高のパフォーマンスを発揮するための綿密な計画。その中には、今後の登板スケジュールに関する意外な決断が隠されていました。復帰への期待が高まる中、大谷翔平の今シーズンの戦略と驚きのエピソードを、ポッドキャスターの日本語字幕付きでお届けします。
They gave an update on Shohei Ohtani. Do you remember the 1,000 people that were watching Ohtani throw his bullpen during spring training? Do you remember all the horse hockey of the GMs who say, oh, he looks so good in the bullpen? Hey, you know what? We're going to throw to live hitters because that makes all the difference in the world. It's such a joke. Stop believing all of the stuff that's told to you by these people. It's just wrong. So Ohtani's throwing the bullpen, and everyone's all excited, but Roberts said he's not going to pitch in Japan, but he's going to hit. But don't worry, we've got Yamamoto and Sasaki to pitch in Japan. It's all going to be great. Look at Sasaki's splitter, man. It's so good. He's so good. Meanwhile, while all of the excitement of spring training is happening, guess what? Ohtani has not thrown a bullpen since February 25th. Remember the excitement of him finally graduating from throwing from 60 feet, 90 feet, 180 feet. Then you get on the mound, and then you start doing more than just a fastball. You start throwing a few off-speed pitches. See how that feels. The thing about doing a bullpen is you do a bullpen, then you see how you feel, then you do a bullpen again the day after. So it's pretty much every other day we have guys throwing bullpens. And do you know what happens when you can't do a bullpen? It's because you're not feeling right, because something happened. So finally someone said, I can't imagine it took this long because it's March 6th when this happened. Hey, why isn't Ohtani throwing a bullpen since February 25th? Oh, no problem. We're giving him a little respite. That's the new code phrase of course, for a setback. You don't need to give a player a break from throwing bullpens unless they're hurt. Now, of course, what they're telling us is they want to give him a break because he's ramping up as a hitter. Normally, I'd have a ton of sympathy and understanding for such gobbledygook. But is it or is it not true that Shohei Ohtani is a two-way player? A top-of-the-rotation starter for which he's paid and a top-of-the-rotation, middle-of-the-rotation bat MVP for which he is. Is it not true that I have gotten castigated, if not fully castrated? Well, that had nothing to do with my Ohtani take. However, it's really hard to be a two-way player, which is why we've never seen anything like Ohtani since Babe Ruth, because to be so good at both is impossible. To be a full-time MVP type hitter is a full-time job. To be a full-time Cy Young award-winning pitcher or Cy Young contending pitcher is a full-time job. Shohei Ohtani is not just recovering from a Tommy John, he also tore his labrum. We're talking about understanding that no matter what your name is, no matter how cute your dog is, for you to be ready to play a full regular season, albeit at DH, though it doesn't matter, that's a full regular season, you got to get ready and you got to be healthy. Focusing on pitching when you're not feeling perfect is a mistake because it can screw up your legs if your arm is hurting. It can screw up your legs if your shoulder's hurting. It can screw up your hitting if anything's hurting. They acknowledged he's not going to face hitters before going to Japan, but they were unwilling to talk about his timeline. Why do you think that is? Because when we have bad news to share, we don't share it. We tell you, hey, we're not sure, we haven't heard, we have no idea of the timeline. When you do know the timeline, you try to downplay it. He's out for the near term. He's likely not going to be around till summer, till after summer. When there's good news, we say it exactly. We are looking forward. The plan is Ohtani will be available to pitch in the rotation in May. We are excited because we're putting LeMahieu on the injured list, but we expect it to be a minimum amount, 15, 10, 5, whatever the number of days.
All right, let's talk about Shohei Ohtani first. So last time he threw a bullpen was on February 25th. He's been playing catch, but his manager, Dave Roberts, said the Dodgers are going to give him, quote, a little respite. Man, I probably said that wrong. From ramping up throwing as he ramps up as a hitter. So he's not going to face hitters, Todd Father, before he goes to Japan. And then they'll see how that impacts the timeline for him. He's not stopping throwing. He's not shutting down from throwing. But they do want to manage his workload on the mound as they're also trying to get him going at the plate. And he had off-season shoulder surgery. Remember, his shoulder was messed up in the World Series. So Doc said that came from, quote, synced up communication between Ohtani and the medical staff. And another quote from Doc, we just felt that to intensify the bullpens alongside the intensity of the games wasn't smart. We just wanted to kind of slow play it. I 1,000,000,000% agree with the way they're playing this. And we continue to talk about this on the show, Todd Father. There is no past game plan for them to play off of. This has never been done. Forget just the pitcher and the hitter. We don't have a superstar pitcher and hitter in our game for decades and decades. We also have the injuries mixed in, coming back from a second elbow surgery, the shoulder surgery in the offseason. You have to play it extra, extra cautious, especially when you're the Dodgers, and you're going to be fine. So if he doesn't pitch until freaking July or August, who cares? You want him for the playoff run. They're a playoff lock.
Yeah, and I think you hit that perfectly. I was going to say that their team is set up, whether he pitches or not, to be a World Series championship team. They have all the pieces. Even if an injury or two happen to somebody, they still have all the pieces there available to win a World Series. This guy just had shoulder surgery. He's coming off a big injury. Listen, they just don't have enough time to get him 100% ready to pitch. They have 100% ready to hit like he's going to do, and he's going to dominate. But again, why would you want to push him knowing how many pieces of the puzzle you already have? You have 8, 10 different other moves you can do, and really good moves without him on the mound. So I think this was their game plan all along, knowing let's stack up, knowing Shohei might not pitch a lot, at least in the early goings. And if they're doing well, why would they even throw him anyway? Save him as long as you can, get that arm going, and let him just hit and go out there and be a masterful hitter, as we know.
I asked this question when they signed Shohei. What happens if Shohei wakes up one day and says, I don't want to pitch anymore? And now, with all these delays, he's already missed a year. We're already looking, if he's not ready in May, we're already looking into June or possibly July. That's almost 2 years of him not pitching. Is the contract still worth it? Right now, I'd say yes, because the Dodgers won a World Series and the money they make off of them. But again, I'm still going to go back to this. What happens if he's like, I hate doing all this rehab. I hate having to pitch. I just want to rake.
Great.
That's his prerogative. There's nothing the Dodgers can do, right? If he makes that decision, good for Shohei. But again, people are going to say, well, it wasn't worth it because they signed a two-way player. Shohei is worth it.
He is beyond worth it, okay? So that contract in present day value was about half the contract of Juan Soto. Last year alone, we've talked about this a ton on our show. He made the team an incremental marketing value over $100 million. he also had a 50-50 plus season and helped them win a World Series title. You could make an argument that alone makes the whole contract worth it and then some. And that's year 1 of 10. He is the biggest bargain in baseball. He might be the biggest bargain in sports contract history, even if he's just a hitter, AJ, because, okay, let's wipe out the pitching. Top 5 bat, and he's bringing the team a ton of money and a ton of success. That's what you sign a guy up for.
Agreed. And also, people say, oh, well, the Dodgers are going to have to make up the $68 million for 10 years after he's done playing possibly with LA. Guess what? If they're making $150+ million right now, that's 68 10 years from now, 9 years from now. They're going to put it in somewhere, and it's going to interest. That's going to be chump change. And that's why with the Dodgers payroll, and yes, everyone says, oh, they're deferreds. Well, guess what? That's smart because they're making all the money now. They're winning World Series now. That money later on, they're going to be like, we don't even care. We won. Let's say they win 2 more World Series in the next 10 years. They're going to be like, we won 3 World Series under this. This contract was 1,000,000% worth it. So I still think he's worth it. I still think it's a great signing. And like you said, Scott, he's the most underpaid guy on the planet right now.
Yeah, also that money has to be put away. I think you get a year to have to put that money away. It's not like 10 years from now and you're just going to be like, whoops, we don't have enough for him. Like you said, AJ.
It's an escrow. It's an escrow.
Yeah, it's an escrow. They're good. They're so good on this deal. I mean, they probably saw this offer, Todd Father, initially from Ohtani when he brought up the 68 mil a year deferred of the 70 to make it a much, much lower contract value. They probably were popping bottles right there, obviously not knowing they had them yet. But the fact that, you know, they could manipulate the money that way, it's huge for them. So on the pitching side too, I just want to say it's a bonus. It's awesome. We all want it sport-wise to be able to see more two-way players. If you're a fan of baseball, it's super cool. I'm sure other teams are obviously okay if he's just a hitter and not bringing as much to the table. But either way, he's a massive asset to the team, and he's worth it.
100%. Well, we've talked about this over and over. The best player in baseball right now, the best hitter, and he is going to keep doing it and doing it for a lot more years. People are like, oh, what about Soto? Yes, Soto's right there. But I just believe those two guys, I mean, they have all the intangibles as great hitters, and they are superb. But again, all the money in the world, worth it. Whatever team he was on, now the Dodgers get to reap those benefits.
I mean, think about it. Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to run a little less this year too, AJ, and that's just the stolen bases. Ohtani does all of these things that put a lot of wear and tear on your body. And so I give the Dodgers credit. I mean, I don't want him just popping up in October to pitch because he's got to pitch a little in the bigs to make sure everything's good. But if he doesn't pitch until August and he's fine and you save the bullets, do we care?
So be it.
No. Todd, let me ask you this. Would you rather have Shohei's contract with the deferred money or Juan Soto's contract?
I mean, any right man, in my opinion, I want the more money. So, well, in California, New York, you got to think about all those things. But
I'm talking about
Cali,
from a team standpoint. From
a team, I thought you were talking about money. I would say Shohei Ohtani, knowing that he can pitch.
It's not even close.
It's not even close. No, I'm saying
Soto's deal is double Ohtani's deal.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yes.
Making double Ohtani.
And this is not a knock on Juan Soto at all. I'm sure they've sold a lot of Juan Soto jerseys to Mets fans. But
I got one.
Ohtani brings in the rest of the world. The world, Japan, everywhere turns in everything Shohei does.
Yeah.
I mean, Fox ran the little. Remember, Fox ran the little thing that you see everywhere. Shohei Ohtani is 7 months away, right? 7 batters away, whatever. It kept popping up. Him and Judge kept popping up on the little score bug and on the corner.
I remember. Yep.
Yeah, and even in the Super Bowl, I think they ran it. Shohei is 3 months away.
Yeah, they did something.
All right, so anyway, we'll keep track of Shohei's progress, but at least for now, it does sound like he's not going to pitch as soon as we at least initially anticipated. in the bigs, but he'll be a bat right from the jump, including in that Tokyo series, which are regular season games that count.
ご視聴いただきありがとうございました。チャンネル登録、コメントをお願いいたします。